Okay, okay. And it looks like we are streaming. Okay, let's see. Just gonna tweet about it real quick. Bum. Let's see. Let's do um YouTube.com. Okay, so I tweeted it and notify everybody. All right, let's get started. So, I think I did tweet about this a little bit earlier. I wanted to try Bravo Studio app. And if you haven't checked it out, Bravo Studio lets you take Figma designs and then you can turn those into real interactive apps, native apps, which is pretty cool. And you can connect it to real data. I don't know how far I'll get today. I would love to connect it to real data and give that part a try. But right now, I am just kind of working on learning how it works. I haven't created an account yet, even so. Prototype at Figma, and then you can see add mobile components, connect real data via APIs, preview on Bravo Vision, and then you can request your packages so that you can take those and submit them, add them to an app store. And so you can see all the different pieces here that they have available. But right now they have Airtable integration. They have some different, some different features coming, integrating with REST APIs and any REST API, login and authentication, and chart components. So cool things coming. But I haven't been able to take this for a spin yet, and I really wanted to. So I'm just going to start by going to Bravo Studio, and I'm going to sign up with Figma. So here we go. And get started. Yes, I agree with the terms and conditions. And I want to be on that mailing list. I want to see what they've got coming. So turn your app prototypes into native iOS and Android apps without coding, while keeping all the designing in Figma. Okay, import your Figma file. Make sure your designs have the prototype links in Figma. So you have to link components with the prototype tab there, it looks like. I love this. They got the checkout here. And then Bravo Rise your design. So I guess import it in. So, okay, we'll finish this. And you can see there are some example apps down here. Let's just check them out. I've not... Food guide here. Here's menu slide. Here's local food. Okay, and then can we preview this real quick? Oh, I need to download an app in order to do this. So Bravo Vision app, I'll give it a whirl. Why not? Play Store. Bravo Vision. I'm thinking about sharing my phone screen. I can figure out a way to do that here really soon, though. So I think I have a piece of software here that will allow me to do that, but just trying this real quick. Yep, going through the onboarding guide. Yep. Preview an app. Let's scan that QR code that is on screen. And then I can get like an app here on my phone that's pretty cool. Looks like they're using some Lottie animations and a bunch of different pieces. So, yeah, really neat. You can't see that. I'm sorry. But you can see the screens here. Oh, and you can do some binding setup on each of those if you want to bind that to an Airtable app. That's pretty cool. It's really cool to see the example apps here. So I'm going to go back into projects, just take a peek here. I've got this sample app. That's mine. I'm going to click here and delete it because I don't want that. It's not my app. So I can import from Figma, but I don't have anything set up there. So Figma does have Bravo does have a help center here. And they do have a tutorial to build an app connected to Airtable, which looks pretty helpful. I did view this really quickly, and it looks like there is a Figma file that you can grab. So I actually grabbed that over here, and you can see essentially what you have to do is you can create a screen. It looks like they have theirs set up at 375 pixels wide, 812 pixels tall, except for this featured activity one, which is a bit taller, more detail. And you can see this is a menu. They have this set as a menu slide. I'll talk about that here in a second. Adventure list, adventure detail, and then the featured activity. So where you can get more information. It's pretty cool. And it looks like everything is just a frame. And so you have containers inside those frames. So you have a top level frame. That's kind of the name of your screen. And then containers inside of those. So pretty neat. This is a really cool way to set this up. So the tags, I did check out, like I said, in the Help Center. I did look at Bravo tags. So these are different ways that you can do different pieces. So you can see here, menu, then they have this bracket menu slide. Well, over here, you can see if that's added, that's a menu that opens by sliding in from the left side of the screen, and that's applied to a top level frame. So the very top level, you can see this is container top bar, and so top bar. I'm not sure what the container top bar. Top bar fixes its position to the top of the screen, and it does not scroll. It looks like you can do the same thing with menu tabs, meaning that stays fixed on every screen. As a bottom navigation bar, you have a menu modal that pops up from the bottom. So there's a bunch of different, GIFs, Lottie. There's a bunch of different tags that you can use, they have an open share dialog, which is really neat, and you can even put in, the address of what should be shared. They do have a web view, which is really neat. So it looks pretty interesting, and so I just wanted to kind of dive in today and see what this is like. I had originally said I was going to work on this. So there's an app. I feel bad saying something about an app a feature that I don't like, but because I do love, there's a website called The Athletic. So The Athletic, boom, and it's really neat. It's a sports news app that essentially you pay a yearly fee, but then you can see this is actually a really beautiful site. There are no ads. You don't have all the pop-ups and things going. They just basically rely on subscribers to keep everything running, which is really cool. But on the mobile app, this is the podcast screen. So when you click on podcast at the bottom, this is what you see. And you only see like up to 5 of your own episodes, and you have to hit more to see more than 2, and it just shows you 5. And they're these really big blocks. So you can't see like newer, recent episodes. And then once you browse past that top part, you get to recommended, where they recommend things and they give you things to browse. And then all the way at the very bottom, you get your podcasts. And then when you get in your podcasts, it doesn't even show it doesn't go by episode, it goes by show. So there's no way to tab between those. And then you get into an episode, and even or a podcast, when you get into that, you can't even jump in and just download an individual episode. Then you have to click into it and then click download at the top. it's really complicated, and I'm not a huge fan of just how difficult it is to listen to some of the content, and with the caveat being it's really great content. It's just sometimes hard to get to. And so I was thinking about things I would love to see in a podcast app. So, I kind of listed this here. List all new episodes. For me. So don't limit that to just 5. Let's list them all. I've never. I don't. Maybe there's a podcasting app that does this, but I would love to see like a button that lets me just download all the new episodes. And if I could spell episodes, oh my gosh, all new episodes since the last listen. So since the last time I opened the app or listened to a podcast, if I could click a button and download all the newer ones, so I didn't have to go back. If I could purge all finished listens without having to go deep into a menu. I would love a less obtrusive way to get those recommendations so I don't have to scroll past, all of this just to get to what I want to listen to. And then, just some different views for my podcast. So, like, maybe when you go into podcast, you actually see a list of episodes and the podcast it belongs to. And then, maybe there's a tab up top where you can switch between, that view, that list view, and then, actual podcasts. So I don't know. I am going to delete this though, because I don't think just digging in and trying this for the first time, I'm going to be able to really fully replicate this. So I'm just filling this out. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to come in here and come to my frames. So I made my frames. I just worked off of their travel app. I made them the same size. And so what I kind of thought we would do, or I would do, is just maybe try to create a small app for the Visual Dev FM podcast that I get to be a part of with Lacey and Matt. And so that's what I'm going to work on here for just a little bit. I don't know how much time I'll get to spend doing this. I wanted to spend more time, but yeah, I'm going to design a little bit. We'll just see, where we get. But going to take some working here. You can add, so one of the things that they do have here is they have in their tags, they do have a skip. So, what I could do here is I could rename this to notes and then just add, I guess, skip to this. So, skip like that. So that way it doesn't get imported. It's not a frame. It shouldn't get imported anyway. But, I'm just trying to follow this nomenclature and the process kind of that they've got set up here. So frame 1, when I get to this, kind of how do I want my app to work, just trying to keep in mind all the different pieces that are available here to me, the modals and the slide menus and all that fun stuff. And so I guess what I'd like to do is just start listing episodes. Probably need a Visual Dev FM logo as well. I'm just going to copy this image and paste it in here. Let's resize. I'll throw this up here, and we'll just start designing and playing with some things and see what we like. So, okay. And then I'm kind of a fan of the bottom bar, so let's just drop in one of those. And I wonder, I'm just going to go over here and read the Bravo tags here. So when you look at the tab menu, the menu that stays fixed on every screen, and that's a top level frame. And so, okay, so really before I even did this, I would just want to, I'm going to move this out into my second frame, jump it over here. Actually, I'm going to go back and do this, because they would say my very first frame, I would want this to be my home screen. So I'm actually going to name this the home screen. And then let's grab that image and let's just do some design in here. So on my rectangle, I won't make that gray like that. We'll just switch the color here to like just an almost white. Let's put the Visual Dev FM logo up here. And then do they have, let's look at the tabs here. What can we do with web view, top bar, let's see, open share dialog, action email, phone, open video. I was just looking for a link because I'd like to put a link to the social media in there. But I guess maybe that's not something that you can do. Maybe action, because you don't really want to share. Maybe we would. I don't know. Okay, so let's put this here, and then I don't know how we'd want to lay this out for just the Visual Dev FM podcast, but we'll just play around. So I'm going to come into the home screen, and I'm going to put in a rectangle block, and actually I'll take the text tool here. Let's just latest episodes. And this is the and also using let's see, bring this down a little smaller, and then I don't know, looking at the site, what different visual pieces we're using, because it's been a while since I worked on that. But looks like we have this background, this wavy background piece that might be something, and then really light separators, so we'd probably want to latest episodes, maybe take a line, put it across here, and then make this really light gray, kind of matches that. And then with each episode, one thing that we do have available is an image that we kind of featured in the hero section. So we could pull in images for this and display that, but I'm kind of more of a fan of just a list and kind of an icon for the podcast. So for ours, let's see, Visual Dev FM podcast, Apple Music or iTunes. Actually, I think I can just grab this here. I could say subscribe, Apple Podcast, yeah, boom. So what I really want is kind of this image right here. So let's inspect it. Let's see if they reveal that. Yeah, here's the image that we made for the podcast. Oh, can I get it? Oh man, I think I copied too much here. Okay, I think I'm just gonna want this right here. Okay, boom. There it is. So we can copy that image, pull this over. We can use this in the app too if we wanted to. And maybe wouldn't even need that, but we'll just play around here. Let's see. So, have it in case we need it. Listen. And so we'll just start listing out episodes. So, grab this. Boom. Episode 12, Visual Dev School. I think we'll use Botto for that. Regular. And then maybe for the color, use the blue that we were using. Yeah. So 12, Visual Dev School. And then, what else? Probably wouldn't want the show description, because really you just kind of want the name of the episode and a way to download it or play it. So, or do we want a detail page where people could go to it and see it? That's a great question. So maybe both. So let's just come out here and we'll make a quick. Actually, let's view. Show pixel grid. Okay. Show pixel grid. Okay. So let's just make a couple of different icons here. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we have a download icon, and then okay, and then maybe also would want like actually let's do this. We'll duplicate this guy real quick. Yeah. And then rotate them. So it's sort of like this. And we'll do the ellipse tool here. Okay. And then duplicate that. So now we have download or details icons here. So kind of play with these and style them a little bit here in a second, but just kind of pull these over. Okay. We'll play with this just a little bit. So let's grab these, and then we could, let's see, fill. I'm going to do it like that. Then we take this vector, and maybe we want to make that stroke a little heavier. Cap around. Yeah, kind of more fits the style here. So we say we were 4. Well, let's jump this up to 4. And then let's come in here. Get round 2. Perfect. Make this button. Yeah. And then we can take this. And that. Okay. Boom. So now we have like a download icon and a details icon. So we could take these and group them. Then these two, group them. And then we'll just make them a little smaller. Maybe 20 by 20. Oh. Let's use the scale tool here so that we don't have that same problem here. 20 by 20. Okay. Okay. So, probably ought to take these things and center them. And same here. Center and center. Okay. All right. So you have episode name and then a download and a details button. So and maybe, obviously with Bravo Studio app, I don't think we can download. So this is where there'll be some limitations here. I don't think we'll be able to. One, we won't be able to include a player yet, so people couldn't listen necessarily in-app download this offline listening. We could use the WebView component and load up the mobile page where people could use the player to play. But just, for design's sake, playing around with that, going to include this. And then the details page where people could go grab the details. And then, maybe one thing that we would do here is we would, duplicate this and, hey, Marius, how are you? So, maybe one thing we would do is in this state, we would, add a stroke to it. Sort of like that. And then remove the fill and make this, the stroke on this, the sync color. And then, you could, here, on the ellipse, just make this a little thicker. Of course, you have to resize it, but maybe like hasn't been downloaded, is downloaded, So you'd have a couple of different, if it's on your device, you've got this. If it's not, you'd have this. But that's, like I said, for Bravo Studio app. I don't think this is anything we could do, but I'm just going to leave these here for fun, just as we play around with the app. So name of the episode, grab that, and I'm actually going to make this medium, just a little more bold. And then, option, just like that. And then we'd want to take all of these things here, so we should definitely align them just like that. And then you could take all of this here. Oop. And you could group it, then you could just, option click and start listing out your episodes here. Yeah, just like that. So then we could just go through and change the titles. Now, if we decide to use the piece with the Airtable app, what we could do is we could, you just need one of these, and then you could use the API and connect this element to your Airtable and pull in dynamically the episode name, fill out the detail page. But I'm just playing around here for a little bit because I haven't actually imported anything in. Just sort of playing around with it. So you can see, here we go, this episode 12. This would be 11. This would be 10. This would be 9. This would be 8. Okay. And let's keep going. This would be 7. We have not done that many episodes yet. 6. 5. 4, and so on. So I'm not going to do all this, but you can kind of see, what's really cool about this as opposed to, maybe some other app making tools out there is that you just kind of have that flexibility to kind of design however you want. I mean, with Figma, you just have that freeform ability to kind of do whatever you want to do. Whereas, maybe with other builders, things feel a little bit limited. So if we wanted to get like really crazy and, take maybe even that wavy background and bring that design over and throw it in and, do a diagonal piece and really just get nuts with it, we could. But, so now we have some of these. We could go through episode 7 and we could update all of these. But just for, just to see kind of how this works, what I want to do is come over here, and then what I want to do is put in another piece here, and then going to, this would be the details page. So on frame 2, let's just go ahead and close this up. Frame 2, we'll call this details page. Boom. And then this would be that top card. So maybe I would actually use an image here. So, I could come over to the home page. Let's just grab the latest one we talk about, the Visual Dev School. Inspect this. I could, I guess, just open up the designer and steal this asset, but just grab it real quick like this. Let's copy that image, and then let's come over and paste it here. So scale this down. Okay. So at the very top of the page, we would want, our image here, just like that. And then we can just, still on that details page, so, or that scale tool. So I'll grab this and go ahead and make that just a little bit taller. And then take this and okay. Oh, my fault. Wrong element. Okay. And then this rectangle, we could make it, we'll just make it the same here. Right here. Okay, perfect. And we would bring this down just a little bit. So, and then we could grab a text tool. I'll just come in here and put in that text. Perfect. And then if this is a title, we'd make it the same as that and use our color. Okay, and make this a little bit bigger. Then resize this. Okay, just like that. And then typically we have this detail, and what we would want to do is, we would definitely want to frame some of these other pieces. Because you want too low. You want a container. So essentially, Bravo talks about this in the Help Center. But you want your master frame, and then you want like a container. So if you look at theirs, you'll see like everyone is they have this main screen that's a container, and then each element is kind of its own container and frame. And so you want to frame everything. Essentially, so we'll go back through and do some of that here because I did not do a good job of that. So we'll play with that just a little bit. But then here you'd want some detail on. We'll just use like the really short description that we use here. And in fact, what I want to do with this is I want to go back to left align. And then here we'll use Roboto. Okay. Boom. Probably should have drew this so it wouldn't be so unwieldy, but just playing around here. Then we definitely want to resize this to make it a little smaller. Okay, yeah. Now we have kind of this here, and then what we could do is we could include a button. So, um, put a button here, and then yeah, we have them kind of listen or rounded. So we could make this, fill this with orange, and then round this out. What we'd want to do, and then there is no link. So one thing that we could do is we could launch the the web viewer here. So we could say come back down here and just listen now. Make this Aquatico. Make this the off-white. And then let's go ahead and resize this and center it. Okay, so now we could use this action to pull up the web version of this. Probably should be a little bit smaller than that, so that people could get they could get the page. And so on our listen pages, so if you go to listen now, there is a player, so they could get all the show notes and this listen, as a web viewer essentially. So we could do that on that click, and then you could take both of these and you could group them, and then you could do this, and you could say share, because there is one of the components they do have is open the share menu on the phone, so people could share this episode and we could grab that. But let's just let's play around real quick and just see what this is looking like. So I want to delete what we don't need. I'm going to delete this other frame, and then I'm going to come back over here to this page, and I'm just going to make these components. And in fact, the container should be the same width as this. So really what I need to do is I sort of messed up here. So I'm going to delete all of these. And in fact, I'm going to keep just the one as an example, right? But I'm going to come here and I'm going to ungroup, and then I'm going to grab rectangle. We'll make it 375, and we'll make it transparent here. Okay, and then hold on. Okay, rectangle 6. We'll call this episode container. And then we'll move this down here. Okay. So group 1. We don't want it in the group, we want it out. So there's that group. That group. Actually, I can probably move this back up. Fun playing around, trying to figure out how this works. So we'll call this go to details. We'll call this download. Name everything that's important. We'll call this downloaded. We'll call this title. Call this separator. And this one we're just going to move up here. So now we have all of these, and one we'll just group them, and then we'll frame it. We'll call it latest episode. Perfect. Okay. And then here, go to details. I'm going to frame this, and I'm going to call this a link to details. And then in Figma, you just need to go to the prototype here, and we want to say on click, vertical scrolling. Okay, actually, overflow behavior, yeah, that's fine. And then we want to navigate to the details page. So now, when you click on this, it goes to the details page, and you can even, I don't know if the animations work here, but you can kind of see what this is like. And then I see a tragic flaw in app design. This is why I spend most of my time building websites and I haven't done a ton of app design, but this is fun. I need a back button. So typically my tabs down here would help me navigate. But we'll just quickly, what we'll do is we'll put this down here and we'll say, this is the worst, but actually, can we move this up here? We'll just, this is a really ugly way to do it, but this is how I'm just going to do it for now. I'm going to call this back. Okay. So, and then here in my details page, I do need a container. So I'm going to grab details. I'm just going to put a container here. And this will be my top title. So let's come back to design. I'm just going to make this a little transparent here and move this back a little bit. See what this is the listen now. So let's start naming things here. Back button. Learning that it's super important to name as I go. I should probably be doing that anyway in Figma, but I typically don't. So that's listen now. So this is episode image. And then this is going to be actually I can remove this because this is going to be my container here. So I will take this and center just a little bit. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Okay, hold on. Okay, back here just like that. Okay, let's zoom out. Alright, so got my back button. All of this will come down here. So rectangle 2, rectangle 6. So we'll call this top container. And then back button is going to be there. Episode image is going to be there. And then with this, I will make that transparent. And then here I can group these together. Call this, top content. I've got the listen now button. And then what I would probably do here is just add another container. And group all of this and call it bottom content. Oop, if I could spell content. And then put the listen now in here. And then take the rectangle right here. And let's make that transparent. Okay, so now I have frame these. Top content. Frame this. Bottom content. Okay. And then top content up here, I'm going to have my back button. I'll call this back button. Okay. And then prototype. Okay, let's one click, navigate to the home screen. Let's push the other way. Okay, so now I actually should be able to test this out just here in Figma. So click here, it gives me my details page, takes me back to the home page. So really simple, not much here, but it does work. So now I guess one thing we could do is just play with this in Bravo Studio. So let's just import from Figma. So let's see here. Design. I'm gonna share. Copy the link. Import. Okay, it's giving me warnings. Oh, well, I was hoping that I could. Container missing. A new container has been auto-added. Okay, so let's just preview this. I'm going to pull it up on my phone here. Then I'll try to share it on the screen. So let's preview an app. Just trying. Looks like the app froze. Let's try again. Okay, so let's see here. Go ahead and have my phone screen here. You can see it. So it's kind of pixelated, but you can get the idea. So when I click on it, it goes to the detail page, and I go back. Oh, pretty neat. That's really basic. That was super easy. And then I could download this, as an app, and submit it to the store. That's pretty cool. Really quick. Super easy to do. And not very difficult. That's really neat. Okay, so before I get off here, I want to see if seeing it told me that I didn't have. There's an issue with containers. So here, maybe everything needs to be in a container. This is where I'm learning. So okay, so let's just go ahead and do this. And grab this, and we'll take all of this and group it, and here. And just call this top content. All right, so I wonder if we can get a web view component going. So let's look and see what that looks like. So just a Bravo tags, component web view, Bravo Studio. Okay, so it just looked like this. A web page will replace the content of the rectangle. So I could copy this and use it in my design. So maybe on this screen, my details page, let's try to, instead of having all of this, what would it look like if my bottom content went away? And then I keep the back button, but maybe get rid of the episode image. And then here, maybe I take this, stretch it out, and then let's put in a rectangle. Okay, and then let's put in this right here. And beneath, and then what I'll do. Do you know if you can do fields and form submits? You can't get. So I know that's one of the things they're working on is including those sorts of features. I'll show you that here in just a second. I'm just going to take this, and then what I'm going to do, component view, because this is really powerful here. So being able to, I want this right here. So maybe just do this, and then let's see if it works. So let's go back over to Bravo Studio, and then can I update? And then this should be a web view. So I'll try to share my screen here. We'll try this out. Bravo Studio. Let me pull up the preview app. Preview an app. Scan a QR code. Oh yeah, that actually works. So let me share my screen real quick. That's really powerful. Screencast to my MacBook here, and wait for this to come up. Okay, so you can see here, this is my phone, and then if I click into the detail page, my back button stays up there, but I can scroll this web view, and so I could actually, listen to the episode here in the app, see all the show notes, get all the other details. That's pretty slick. And then gets me back to the homepage. Wow, this is super powerful. And so you can imagine then taking this component and then going ahead, and you can see my warnings. I still have one container problem, but I'll have to work on that for that. But you can see how powerful this would be if I connected this to then an Airtable app or a base, and then I'm pulling all this content in for my episodes dynamically, so that people could listen to the episodes on their phone straight from what I guess would technically be the browser. No download or native player functionality yet for mobile, but maybe an audio component will come, because you can see that some of the things they do support is opening a video, which would open actually, that link probably in app. But they do have like background video and all that different stuff. So maybe audio player sometime. But this is really cool to play around with. I've really enjoyed messing with this, and I am going to do some homework here on what we could do with the Visual Dev FM app. And I would love to. Maybe it's a companion app, so if you're listening in your favorite podcast player, you could get all the show notes, and maybe we find a native way to pull all that content in. But yeah, it's just incredibly powerful and super flexible and really amazing. I mean, and you can see I had not played with this. I literally spent 3 minutes looking through their help docs here, and then signed up for an account and just threw this together really quickly. So, and then what's really killer, like I said, I think, is the ability to really design to your heart's content in Figma. Full design control. So if you really want something that just blows people away and how it looks, you can do that. So super cool. Glad I got to kind of stream and play with this. Hopefully people learned something along with me. And I'm going to do some homework, like I said, and build something cool, and then I'll document that process, or maybe I'll stream again when I've played with it a little more in depth, and then hopefully maybe we can just release a Visual Dev FM app. One thing that there is that you should know, I did look here, FAQ, I want to say it was, can you publish my app on the App Store and Google Play? It's once you import a Figma file into Bravo, it already has generated a native app file on Android and iOS. which you can preview. Then you grab it and download it. I want to say that the iOS, I read somewhere and I'll have to find it, the iOS version, if you're using an API, it'll automatically update in the background. The Android won't yet. Hopefully that's something that they're working on. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful, and I appreciate you hanging out, Marius, and chatting with and learning with. And like I said, I'm kind of on Christmas break here, so I'm going to try to get away from my computer. But when I get back, I plan to dive in deep and really see what kind of cool things I can do with this. So super, super cool. So to the people at Bravo Studio, this is awesome. You guys are doing great work. This is so cool. So really enjoyed playing with this, and see you guys in the new year.